Laura Leon, spiritual activist, life coach, motivational speaker, energy healer, past life regression therapist, teacher, author, and artist. Interview about femininity. Laura, hello. I'm very excited that you decided to make this video, this interview, this talk with me about femininity and sexuality, about how we are seeing ourselves. And I know that you wrote a book about your story, and I know that your life is very, very full of a lot of experience. And for me it's very interesting when you decide that I want to change my life. What was the moment, what was the most important moment for you when you start to change your life, you start to live differently?
And it may be kind of shocking to your audience, but there was a time period in my life that everything was wrong. My marriage was not doing well. I had a child with special needs, and that was very difficult. It seemed like everything was wrong, and I wasn't happy. And I had this experience where I was eating, and this will sound crazy because I thought I was crazy, but this wolf came out of my mouth and chewed the food. And I looked around and I said, what's going on? Am I crazy? And so I just ignored it, and I visualized this wolf. And I took another bite of this food, and I saw this wolf come out and eat the food. So I thought I was crazy. I talked to my girlfriend, who was a psych nurse, and she said, I think you might need a CAT scan. And so I was still at that time just beginning to really understand spirituality and everything. And a month previous, I had gone to a shaman to get a healing. And it was kind of just a fun thing. And after this experience happened, I called this man, this shaman, and I said, this is gonna sound crazy, but this thing happened to me. And he said, let me ask you a question. He says, are you doing in your life what you want to do? And I said, no, absolutely not. I'm really unhappy. And he said, when the wolf comes to you, no matter how it comes to you, if you see it or you imagine it, that means that is time for you to look at your life and time to make a change, time to move your life ahead. So I started to talk with him about what I wanted to do, and I was always intuitive, and I could always read people's thoughts and see their future and things like that. And I said, I would like to help people. And he said, I said, I always have a lot of friends come to me and I give them advice and I intuitively know how to help them. And he said, well, have you ever thought about being a healer? And I said, yeah, I think I am a healer. And I said, I would like to start doing that. And he said, well, he goes, any place that you go, you're going to be certified. You have to be certified, go through training and get your certification. And I said, well, how do I do that? He said, well, I'm a shaman, an energy healer, and I could teach you. So I ended up going to him, and I studied with him for a year, every week for a year, and it changed my life. I learned how to meditate. I learned about energy. I learned about the universe and what we're all about, why we're here. And during that time period, miraculous things happened. I started to see insights to my life, and I really started to change my life, understanding that everything that comes to us, all the challenges, are lessons. And we put them there before we come into this body. We say, this is how much I want to grow, and these are how many lessons I want. So it's a correlation of lessons and growth. So I started studying with him, and during my first few months, I developed stage 3 breast cancer. And for me, it didn't upset me. It was something that I knew was a lesson. And basically, I just powered through it, did what I had to do, did all the treatments, and continued my education in spiritualism.
You said that this symbolic wolf This is a symbol of change.
Yes.
If you see the wolf, it's something like symbolic.
Well, according to, and this is American Indian, American Indian, their belief systems are that animals are medicine. So that if you see a butterfly, it's a totem, that butterflies have a certain meaning. Before I came, the day before I was to fly out to Poland, I sat down in my kitchen, and out on my front lawn appeared about 30 or 40 black crows. And I said, oh my, and then as soon as I sat down, I looked at them and then they all flew away. And that was something that was very unusual, just to be right on my front lawn in front of my kitchen. So I quickly looked up what black crow totem, and it was this amazing message to me. So if you, and then when I do healings too on people, I will see an animal and I'll tell them this animal. And then we look it up and they're like, oh my God, that's what's happening in my life. So this goes back to indigenous Indian folk medicine, where, you know, nature is your teacher. So animals are your teachers. So when you see something, you see a deer or you see a butterfly or a feather, they're all messages to help you learn. And that's one of the ideals that I believe in.
So this breast cancer, it was the same, like symbolic, because for a woman, breast, this is something very important. What we are thinking that it's our femininity, this is very, very symbolic, I think. Do you agree?
Well, you're absolutely right, because when it comes to breast cancer with women, it's really about self-love. It's really about self-love. And I had had illnesses before. I had a kidney removed, and it was kind of like, hey, wake up. You don't love yourself. You're doing everything for everybody else, but you're not doing anything for yourself. And I would think that people thought about themselves first. They were selfish. You're not selfish. You have to nurture and love your spirit, and then you can help nurture and love everybody else. So when I got breast cancer, my teacher said, well, what do you think this is? And I said, well, I think it's about me loving myself and putting myself first. And it absolutely was. It absolutely was a lesson. And I changed. And I started to take time for myself. I started to meditate, and I started to change. And in the beginning, my family was very, kind of not happy with who I was becoming. You know, the husband that I wasn't getting along with was kind of, but eventually everybody got on board. And as I raised my vibration and I started to love myself, everybody around me started to raise their vibration as well.
And you are healthy now.
I'm absolutely healthy. The doctors wanted me to go on this 5-year drug, but I tried it and it made me really sick. But now I've been 5 years free of breast cancer. I'm healthy, I have no sign of cancer, I'm completely healthy. And I think that has to do with self-love and how I changed the way I thought about myself.